here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Well, that is right. You are listening to Hour 2 of the Todd Huff Show. It's good to be here. Thank you for joining us. And I've been talking about the Trump tapes or the Woodward tapes and all the response to this and whether or not Trump knew about the threats of COVID and hid those from the American people, or whether or not he was simply trying to prevent panic, as he says. There's been lots of responses to this. By the way, if you want to hear what we talked about prior, I'm not going to go through and set all that up. We played sound bites and everything else. But if you want to hear it, check out our number 1 as a podcast, or you can go to Facebook, or you can go to our website, even better yet, toddhuffshow.com/listen. So I want to play Kayleigh McEnany. She's asked about this yesterday, press briefing. I want you to hear her response. Again, the position the media is taking and the Democrats are taking is that Trump lied, Americans died. Trump knew that COVID was going to come in and wreak havoc in the United States of America, killing people, that it was an airborne disease. I think back, if Trump makes any statement about COVID, he's usually criticized. You don't know that. Don't say that. Right? I mean, Trump says hydroxychloroquine's had promising results. The media and the Democrats have made it their personal mission to make sure the word hydroxychloroquine can never even be uttered in public. They've made it hard for doctors in many places to prescribe the medication. They've gone out to demonize it, because if hydroxychloroquine actually saves a life, a single life, they don't want that to be credited to President Donald Trump. It's pathetic. That's just awful stuff. So the idea, I'm just thinking, if President Trump said this publicly back in February, they would have said, this guy is not a doctor. We should listen to the experts, right? They say don't wear masks. They say just wash your hands. They tell us there's nothing to worry about yet in the United States. Meanwhile, Trump's shutting down travel between countries, between us and China first, and then us and a continent, the continent of Europe, secondly. Shut it down. That was controversial at the time. The experts said it wasn't necessary. The Democrats said it was xenophobic. But we don't hear about that. What we hear is President Trump on this tape saying that the disease is airborne, it's worse than the flu, all of this sort of stuff. And meanwhile, President Trump also, I think it's worth pointing out, said that he thought that Xi Jinping, President Xi of China, would actually shut down the spread of the coronavirus. But that's, of course, not what happened, and now here we are. And again, as I said last hour, I think that overlooking the problems of China and their communication is also a problem. I mean, overlooking the need for that government to control every bit of the media. I mean, there is so much we don't know about the disease, or there was at the time, that we could have known, because they deliberately did not tell us. They chose to not share that information. They chose to hide it. They chose to make sure that we did not know the depth of the issue with COVID in China. They wanted us to know this. Or they wanted us not to know this, I should say. They wanted to keep that information private. They wanted to keep that out of the public purview. They wanted to keep it secret. And that's what they did. So anyway, the narrative is that Trump doesn't care about Americans. Instead, I guess, I mean, how short-sighted is it if President Trump said, you know what, I'm not even going to act like this is a big deal. I know it's going to kill a lot of Americans. I'm going to blow it off, and why would someone even do that? Like, you can follow the logic of saying, I don't want to create mass hysteria and mass panic. We've had people that have done that. That's why we still can't get disinfectant wipes from places. That's why we still can't in some places where we couldn't for some time get toilet paper, right? Or you could get it on Amazon for like $85 a 12-pack or whatever. So that's what panic creates, those sorts of things. And I mean, we can follow the logic of that. We can follow the logic of a leader saying, I want to share information with people. I want to take precautions and steps. Again, we were at the beginning on February 7th. The Democrats were still in impeachment mode. Democrats were more concerned about trying to get an elected official out of office through nefarious means than they were of doing anything else. They weren't worried about coronavirus, that's for sure. Biden wasn't, Pelosi wasn't, de Blasio wasn't. All these city leaders, they didn't have any concern about any of this stuff. They thought it was no big deal. You could do whatever you wanted, gather in large crowds, and no problem. No problem whatsoever. Meanwhile, Trump's the one that's actually taken action. And he's the one that's criticized for not caring. But how short-sighted. Even if Trump is the animal that they claim that he is, and I'm not suggesting that he is, but even if he didn't care about he didn't care about people, he didn't care if people died with coronavirus. I mean, the idea that people wouldn't notice, it's not like it's something you can keep hidden. It's not like, say, Benghazi, where you can mislead the public on what happened so as to prevent people from knowing the truth as to what happened and why in a particular place at a particular time. And you can deceive them as to as to what actually transpired and why decisions were made and so forth. It's not like that. It's out there for all the world to see. I mean, people are transmitting this. They're catching and transmitting this virus right before our very eyes, and there's no hiding this. I don't know how he would have stood to gain anything, but that's kind of the perspective that they're giving us here. Trump wanted to hide this so that he could have some sort of political gain, but I don't know what that could have possibly have been. So I guess what they want us to believe is that he's both heartless and an idiot, which they want us to believe anyway. He can't even come up with a diabolical plan correctly. Again, what they want us to think. But let's go here. Let's go here to the press conference yesterday with Kayleigh McEnany. Let's see how she responds to some of the questions about the Trump tapes, the Woodward tapes that she's being asked by the media.
Kayleigh, thank you. I'd like to ask you about the Woodward interviews. Did President Trump intentionally mislead the American people about the threat of COVID, a pandemic that has now cost the lives of nearly 200,000 Americans?
Absolutely not. This president, at a time when you're facing insurmountable challenges, it's important to express confidence. It's important to express calm.
Always play it down. Is playing it down, is that expressing calm? It seems dishonest. It seems
Can
like
you read
lie.
the rest of the quote?
That's how much they put in there.
Oh, you excluded the last part.
We'll play the full thing on 60
Please,
Minutes
please
on Sunday.
do.
Do you deny
please
that
do
he
explain.
misled the American
Please,
people
of
about
course
the
I
threat of
deny
this
that.
pandemic?
And he makes clear that he doesn't want to see chaos, by the way, is the second part of the quote, which you failed to read. The president, just days after having this discussion with Bob Woodward, said this from this podium. On March 30th, he said, I do want them to stay calm. We are doing a great job. If you look at the individual statements, they're all true. Stay calm. It will go away, but it's important to stay calm. So this president does what leaders do, good leaders. It's stay calm and resolute at a time when you face an insurmountable challenge. That's what this president has
It will
done.
not appear that the president lied to the American public about the threat posed by COVID.
The president has never lied to the American public on COVID. The president was expressing calm, and his actions reflect that. On January 6th, the CDC issued a Wuhan travel notice before any confirmed U.S. cases, among a number of other actions. And I'd refer you to Dr. Fauci, who said that this president has an impressive response. I can't imagine under any circumstance that anyone could be doing anything more. That is the record of this president.
Okay, so that's the exchange yesterday. And again, you can, that's par for the course. That's what you're going to get. She brought up Dr. Fauci. I want to play. Dr. Fauci was on Fox News yesterday. He was asked about this as well. I'll play his I'll play his response, what he has to say as well, but I'm going to do better this hour of sticking with the time clock here. So as I look here, I'm going to wait until the next segment. But this is, again, the narrative. President Trump knew it was deadly and dangerous, and he lied to the American people. I mean, you can have a discussion about that. I mean, her questions are not necessarily fair, but it's a fair way. It's a fair question to ask. It's a fair question to ask. What do you mean by downplay? Do you mean lie about it, or do you mean to, if you're taking precautions? Again, what was the average American supposed to do on February 7th? I guess that's the question. What was the average American? If Trump came out and said, folks, buckle up because we're about to go through living hell. Never seen anything like this. What's coming our way? What were we supposed to do? And how would that have benefited anybody? Remember back on February 7th, we really had no idea. We really had no idea that it would even come to the United States. We thought that we could. We were still at the point where we were, trying to isolate and do, contact tracing and all that sort of stuff. We thought we could keep it from spreading rampantly as it has. We thought that we could stop it. Right? Remember, there were people on the cruise ship and all this sort of stuff. They wouldn't let the cruise ship basically dock anywhere, and it had to float out at sea for a good while. And there were people that were flown back, I think, to the United States. Some people had traveled back, and then they found out that they had it. They tried to track them down and grab everyone that had contact with them and test them and put them in quarantine and all this sort of stuff. So we were still at the point of trying to stop it from really taking root in this country. Even into early March when some of these other recordings with Bob Woodward took place. And so, again, when you say downplay it, what does that mean? It's not as though at that particular point in time, we did not know that it would spread like it had spread. We were you could have guessed that was certainly a possibility, but it wasn't, where we were in late March, early April, where we knew that, this thing's, the cat's out of the bag here. We got to do something else, and that's where we got all these, government imposed shutdowns and so forth. But I don't want to get into that path. I want to stay on really what were we supposed to do at that particular point in time, and what would Trump have said? What should he have said? Now you could say he's maintained the downplaying attitude throughout the pandemic, and again, these are fair questions to ask. But the accusatory tone and the starting premise that Trump wants Americans to die and he doesn't care because he thinks it's going to somehow help him win re-election. That doesn't stand up to what we know. That doesn't stand up to the facts or to reality. Even if that's what Trump's intentions were, if that's really what his heart desired, there's no way that he was ever going to get there because, again, this isn't something that happened behind closed doors or in a compound in Benghazi that you could, lie to people about what actually transpired. This is something that's happening all around American communities. People have gotten sick. People have gone to the hospital. People have been on ventilators. People have died of this. People have died alone of this. Some really sad, awful, atrocious stories. But the notion that this was somehow going to help Trump by his downplaying, and I don't know that really adds up. You can say you could even say that he made the wrong judgment. I'm being, as flexible as I can here. I'm not saying that these are the right judgments. I'm just saying you can say all those things, but to say that he sought out to, make it look like this was no big deal and didn't care that, X number of Americans died seems to be it's outlandish. It's outlandish. So I want to play what Dr. Fauci says as well, but I've got to take a break. Do that after the break. Dr. Fauci, sit tight, back in just a minute.
Looking to make a conservative, not bitter fashion statement? Check out our apparel online, including brand new items at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
Our partner, Global Plasma Solutions, has published ionization testing results that demonstrate a 99.4% reduction rate on a SARS-CoV-2 COVID-19 surface strain within 30 minutes. This is the first instance that an air purification company has effectively neutralized SARS-CoV-2. Commercial Service Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is installing this solution in businesses and homes in South Central Indiana. Get your free information kit at commercialservice.com/info. Commercial Service, commercial-grade service for your home.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. That's 800-764-9168.
Outside of the federal government, no one likes losing money. Any amount of money, not just the $6 billion the State Department lost. And what makes losing money worse is knowing that we could have done something to stop it. Well, if you have an inefficient furnace, a toilet that won't stop running, or a leaky faucet, you can do something about it. You can call the good folks at Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. Call 317-831-5279 or visit economyheatingandair.com.
This is the sound of your typical do-it-yourselfer in completely over his head.
For heating, plumbing,
and electrical done right.
Call Mr. Quick. Call Mr. Quick. Dial the number, spell the words. For on time.
In the compassion of Christ, we see Christ as he models it for us in some really interesting ways. He's not worried about the world metrics. No, he is worried about the person. Mark 5, he gets in a boat and goes across the lake for one person. We see him as he's walking amidst all of the people. He stops to engage with the one woman with the issue of blood. Christ was about engaging with people and not worried about numbers. If there was one, he wanted to engage and connect with them. For us today to live out the compassion of Christ, will you engage with someone? Will you engage with the one? Not worried about the numbers, but worried about the connection.
Indy Decorative Concrete is hiring immediately. They're looking for workers with experience finishing concrete. Pay is $25 to $30 per hour with weekly overtime. All jobs are located within the city of Indianapolis. Call 317-784-1464 or apply in person at their offices located at 8366 Brookville Road, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46239. They're open Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, visit their website, www.indydecorativeconcrete.com. www.indydecorativeconcrete.com.
Welcome back. So we have Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci, it's remarkable to me. And this, in fairness, happens on both sides of the aisle here. But it's remarkable to me when Fauci says something that, one particular side likes. And I feel like this happens more with the left, but I think it's probably fair to say it happens both ways. I try to be fair around here. But when Fauci says something that's, bad about Trump or whatever, something that he's, if he's sitting there shaking his head at something Trump says or whatever, then he's the greatest doctor in the history of doctors. This guy is to be praised and adored by the masses. This guy needs to probably have a holiday named after him, statues erected of him probably in places where they're pulling down the other statues. Probably put up a Fauci statue, right? I mean, this is the way. But he says, this is the way it's done. If he says something that is favorable to Trump, if he says something that says, hey, President Trump's actually done a good job leading this, suddenly it's like, this guy Fauci is such a rat. I can't believe he would actually say this about this guy Trump. He's in Trump's, he must be in Trump's pocket, or something's got to be going on there. And on this goes. On and on this goes. So, but I want to play this. Dr. Fauci was on with John Roberts yesterday talking about coronavirus. Well, I'm sorry, talking specifically about President Trump's response to coronavirus, and even more specifically, Trump's the audio exchange between Bob Woodward and President Trump on these so-called Trump tapes, or the Woodward tapes, or whatever they call these things. So I want you to hear this exchange, because again, the left's not going to like this, because Fauci has some good things to say here about President Trump. Listen.
Task force members with the president were talking about the reality of what was going on, and then when we would get up in front of the press conferences, which were very, very common after our discussions with the president, he really didn't say anything different than we discussed when we were with him. So I may not be tuned in to the right thing that they're talking about, but I didn't really see any discrepancies between what he told us and what we told him and what he ultimately came out publicly and said.
So did you get it?
Okay, pause. I didn't set that up very well. So the question was, hey, is President Trump basically downplaying this? Meaning, is he having discussions with you behind the scenes, and then once he gets out in front of the public, kind of saying something altogether different, downplaying it? And Fauci says, no, pretty much what he said to me behind the scenes, so to speak, is the same things he would say in public. There was a time not too long ago, there was a catchphrase, and I guess it's still, I don't know if I call it a catchphrase, but it's a trend, or it's a term. I guess you could say catchphrase, but something that people would say that was important about leaders and businesses was transparency. Got to be transparent. We don't want someone who is, opaque, someone who's not really showing us their true motivations, feelings, and so forth, hiding the real reasons why they're doing something. Instead, we want someone to be transparent. We want them to have nothing to hide. We want them to have the equivalent of a glass desk in their office. Clean top. You can see underneath. There's nothing hidden. We don't want to have scenarios whereby we can't really know what's going on. Transparency, transparency, transparency. Which is what President Trump, Fauci just said President Trump without using the word transparent. President Trump has been transparent on coronavirus. So with that being said, let's go back to this exchange between John Roberts of Fox News and Dr. Fauci.
Sense that he was or wasn't playing this down?
No, I didn't. I didn't get any sense that he was distorting anything. I mean, in my discussions with him, they were always straightforward about the concerns that we had. We related that to him. And when he would go out, I'd hear him discussing the same sort of things. He would often say, we just got through with a briefing with the group from the task force, and would talk about it. So, no, it may have happened, but I have not seen that kind of distortion.
So back in February, according to
task force.
Okay, so Fauci hadn't seen it. Fauci says, look, I may be, not necessarily aware of the specific allegations or what they're specifically referencing in these tapes. Right, again, the Woodward tapes, the Trump tapes. But from my experience, Fauci says, what Trump and I talked about when the cameras were not on were the same things that I heard President Trump, by and large, saying when the cameras were on. He wasn't trying to deceive and mislead or downplay. It was the same discussion. So I don't know really, in a sense, what you or what Bob Woodward are even talking about, because this is simply not my experience. Simply not my experience. And I can hear almost a collective gasp if I listen carefully here this morning. The media gasping. Why didn't he simply tell us the truth? Why is Fauci lying to us? We know that this is what President Trump did. We know it. Just like, what was it? The article that I saw written by, who wrote the article? Can't think of what it was, but yesterday or the day or earlier this week, or maybe late last, I think it was earlier this week, probably Tuesday, I referenced an article that said, we all know it's true. We know President Trump says bad things about our military. We know President Trump thinks that people who died in battle, soldiers, sailors, those who stood in harm's way to fight for freedom in Europe, or whatever the cause is to defend this country. We know President Trump thinks that they're suckers and losers. That's what they, if they were killed or captured. We all know that's true. That's the article. Same thing here. We all know the left. This is what the left says. I'm not agreeing with these things, by the way. I'm telling you how they present it. We all know it's true. We know President Trump was trying to downplay this. We know President Trump didn't take this seriously. Although you listen to what he said, and then you're stuck with, he knows it's serious, but he didn't care. He didn't care enough to tell the American people. He wanted to lie to the people so that more people would contract COVID and die, because that would help him politically. Is that what what does this even mean? What do they think happened here? This doesn't make any sense strategically. Again, if you look at the timeline, again, I've said this several times, I'll say it again, but if you look at the timeline, what we knew at the time, Trump actually was taking more aggressive steps than the so-called experts wanted him to take, because they didn't think it was necessary. That's why the travel ban to China was called xenophobic, unnecessary, probably even irrational, possibly even anti-science. There's probably somewhere out there, if you search the internet long enough, that they probably said stuff like that. But that's how this is done. And then there's no repercussions. There's no apology issued. Wow, I was really wrong when I said that, President Trump. Really missed the mark there. You were right, I was wrong. That's not what happens. They move on to the next thing. And what sticks in your mind, and the mind of listeners and viewers or people who watch this nonsense transpire every day, what sticks in our minds is that, hey, we had a situation, we have a president that's always in the midst of controversy. It's one thing to another. But when you go back and you look at the one thing that happened before the latest thing, you start to look at it and you think, well, that's really not what they told us it was. Well, that's not really what they told us it was either. Come to think of it, that isn't either. Same thing when I look at these list of 20,000 or whatever it is, 25,000 Trump lies since taking office. You start looking at the list of lies and you think, that's not even a lie. It's an opinion. It can be a delusional opinion that someone could say it's a delusional opinion that President Trump has. I'm the greatest president ever. Maybe he says stuff like that. Okay. There's reasons for this. It's to goad the media. It's to double down. It's to be strong. It's to not to accept their narrative. All this sort of stuff. It's just the way that he talks and presents himself and thinks and moves forward. It's just the way that he is. And there's something that's really, to me, kind of appealing about that. We're going to beat this. This is great. Greatest economy ever, greatest decision ever, greatest whatever. It's good. It's good to finally have a guy in office that makes us feel good about being American, to believe in, to have this positive outlook, optimism, belief in the American people, the way that we live, our system of government. But that's not the way some look at this. They think instead they've got to portray this guy as some reckless lunatic who doesn't care about the lives of American citizens. And that, friends, that's just that I don't accept that. You can say he made a bad judgment. You can say that he should have said more, told the American people more about something. I'd be willing to entertain all that. But to say that he deliberately lied, for what purpose? I guess that's my question. For what purpose? Fauci said it wasn't happening. So they'll discard his so-called media testimony immediately and find someone else who's going to take us further down the rabbit hole of anti-Trump. And that's the way the game is played. And it's not going to stop. It's only going to get worse, especially as we get into the meat of the election or the campaign. So, quick time out. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Like what you hear on Todd's show? Why not get more by signing up for Todd's free Semi-Sweet Morsels of Truth newsletter. To subscribe, visit toddhuffshow.com/subscribe or text HUFF to 31996.
Our word can't be diluted because we are taught that a promise is a commitment in which you always follow through. No ifs, ands, or buts. So every time you walk through Greg Hubler Chevrolet doors, you can count on the advice and expertise we provide you. Because when we make a promise, we keep it. Greg Hubler Chevrolet. Promise kept. Visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
We all know having health insurance doesn't always equal health care. That's why at Freedom HealthWorks, we believe the key to maintaining good health is based on a straightforward, personal relationship with your physician. With our direct doctor-patient relationship model, we remove your healthcare middleman and replace him with transparent pricing and incentive to call your doctor at the first sign of illness. So if you're ready to experience real care from a doctor that really cares about you, go to freedomhealthworks.com and learn more about the benefits of our direct primary care model. Freedom HealthWorks. Be treated better.
Hi, my name is John Swadner, Sales Director of the Todd Huff Show. As a listener of the program, you know the show is growing. 4 years ago, it began as a podcast in a closet. Today, it's a 2-hour show that airs during morning drive in Indy and in Utah, and we're just scratching the surface. Todd brought me on board to help the show and our advertisers grow. That's why I'm specifically looking for partners who are a good fit to advertise with us. Would that be you? To learn more about what advertising would look like and to determine if it's a good fit for your business, shoot me an email to john@toddhuffshow.com. And be sure to ask me about some of our special packages that will save you up to 40%. Email john@toddhuffshow.com. Shoot me an email today.
Hi, this is Caleb with Gluff Plumbing. Does your home need some plumbing updates? Gluff Plumbing is your solution. We specialize in updating old plumbing, everything from water heaters to well pumps, to underground leaks and everything that has to do with water entering and leaving the home, including water and sewer main excavations. We pride ourselves on old-fashioned customer service. Call Gluff Plumbing at 765-721-6789 or visit gluffplumbing.com. That's GLUFF plumbing.com. Call us today.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200 back at $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freege, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegeAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freege, Freije, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegeAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freege, owner and lead auctioneer at Freege & Freege Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Anxiety, depression, relationship problems, past trauma. Problems rarely get better when given time. Care to Change Counseling can help. Our professionals combined evidence-based care models with scripture to get you on the path to a productive life. We are here to help you make the changes you need for a healthier, happier you. Take that brave step today. Call Care to Change at 317-790-9396 or visit caretochange.org.
Welcome back. So, President Trump was also on Hannity last night, answering some questions, which I'll get to. I can't do it this segment, so I'm going to make sure we get out of this one on time, and then we will listen to it's a bit of a longer discussion. So I will. Is there something I need to know? Okay. I see hands. The hands going up in the air by Oz usually means it's time to take a break. I sense that there's frustration in something she's doing over there. There's a little bit different hand gesture than normal, but I wasn't sure if she was telling me it's time to take a break. But we'll play Trump's discussion with Hannity. It's a couple minutes long. I mean, I think the full clip I have is like 8 minutes, but I just wanted you to hear some of it. I want you to hear how he's responding to this, how he's trying to get out in front of this. I mean, we're at election time. These things need to be addressed and dealt with, obviously, regardless. But now that we are in an election season, this is even more important. So Biden's out there as well trying to take advantage of this. Biden's out there saying that, basically Trump downplayed this. In fact, he said he knew and purposely played it down. Worse, he lied to the American people. He knowingly and willingly lied about the threat it posed to the country for months. He lied, and people died. That's the way that this is done. Just like back in 2012, Biden said Osama died and GM's alive. Remember that? That was the theme going into the convention back in. Actually, it might have been on this it was right around this time. Might have been this very day, for all I know, when Biden said that at the at the Democrat National Convention back in 2012. And then, of course, Benghazi happened on September 11th. So that was a day or two, within a week or so of the convention, whenever that was. So that being said, I'm going to take a break, come back. I want to play a little bit of this conversation Trump had with Hannity last night, explaining really from his perspective what's going on, what he meant, what he was thinking, that sort of stuff. We'll do that after the break. Sit tight. Be back in just a minute.
Listen to Todd's show on your way to work, but want to hear more? Don't miss a beat. Visit toddhuffshow.com/listen to catch the program anytime, anywhere.
Hey Indianapolis, by now you've probably heard about Jody Dowdle with Midwest Tax Group. Jody and his team are experts at helping you prepare your personal or small business tax returns. You can count on Midwest Tax Group to get every deduction possible and work for your higher refund. And not just on this year's taxes, they'll check your prior returns for any tax savings you may have missed for free. Are you behind on filing your returns? They can file past due returns and help negotiate with the IRS too. They complete most tax returns within a week and charge an affordable, flat fee, no hourly billing. And as their client, you can consult with the team at Midwest Tax Group year-round at no charge. Midwest Tax Group has 4 office locations in Castleton, Greenwood, Plainfield, and Greenfield, with evening and weekend appointments available. Schedule your appointment today at 317-288-5260. That's 317-288-5260. Or visit their website at mwtaxgroup.com. Midwest Tax Group can help you more than any piece of software ever could.
The printing industry has changed a lot since we opened for business in 1931, but what our clients expect from us really hasn't changed. Quality print, fast turnaround, and competitive prices. We've learned a lot at Moeller Printing over 86 years and 3 generations. Why not put that experience to work for you? Call 317-353-2224 and mention discount code RADIO to receive 10% off your first order. Call Moeller Printing at 317-353-2224.
Are you concerned about your investments? Intrepid Financial has been educating, customizing, and servicing Hoosier investment portfolios since 1998. Our family-owned and operated business builds strong bonds with our clients. When you call, we answer the phone, always ready to walk you through your investment strategy. Intrepid means without fear. We want our clients to be fearless, to feel secure with their investments. Give us a call at 317-818-1776 or visit us online at intrepidfinancial.com.
Ever wondered what shooting a real machine gun feels like? At Indie Trading Post, you can have an awesome and safe shooting experience in our family-friendly environment. Firing a weapon on full auto is something you will always remember. Schedule some range time today and let Indie Trading Post give you the real machine gun shooting experience. We guarantee you'll have a blast. Give us a call at 317-782-4867 or schedule your range time at fullautoindy.com.
Ever ask yourself, what does my business insurance actually cover? Well, at AIA and Avon, we think you deserve to know. AIA is focused on earning your trust. We've found that when we educate our clients and truly listen to them, they allow us to work alongside them to put together the insurance plan they need. Whether your business is big or small, give AIA a call, 317-718-1747, or find out what we can do for you at AIA4lowrates.com. Advertisement sponsored by Grange Insurance.
The compassion of Christ. It's living life connecting to the broken and messy world. It's not simply walking down the street and dropping a quarter in someone's bucket. It's been perverted by Satan from biblical compassion to feeling sorry for, and sympathy isn't where God wants us to live. It's connecting to broken people in our daily life. Living the compassion of Christ.
All right, welcome back. I told you I'd play a bit of this conversation President Trump had with Sean Hannity last night. I want to play this. Hannity setting up the interview, asking Trump about about the Woodward book and just this conversation in general. So take a listen to this.
10 days after the first identified case, 10 days, you put the travel ban in effect. Then there was a subsequent ban, the first quarantine in over 50 years. He said it was hysterical xenophobia and fear-mongering on your part. 2.5 months later, he reversed himself, at least according to a campaign ad.
That was Biden.
What do you believe that one decision, at 10 days after the first case in America, what impact did that have? And what were you saying to Bob Woodward?
Well, first of all, on the Woodward book, on the book itself, he called. I didn't participate in his last one, and he does hit jobs with everybody. He even did it on Obama. But constant hit jobs on Bush. I guess they did 3 books. They were all terrible. So I figured, let's just give it a little shot. I'll speak to him. It wasn't a big deal. I speak to him, and let's see. I don't know if the book is good or bad. I have no idea. Probably, almost definitely won't read it because I don't have time to read it. But I gave it a little bit of a shot. Sounds like it's not going to be good, but if you look at what I said today, I said, don't panic. We don't want to be jumping up and down and going wild. Don't panic. I'm a cheerleader for this country, and I don't want to see panic. And I thought what Matt said was fantastic, because we would have lost 2 million, 2.5 million lives instead of the number we're talking about. Anything above 1 is no good. It's no good. We can't have it. It was China's fault. They sent this to us, and it's no good. But I thought I'd give the Bob Woodward some time. I gave him some time. But as usual with the books he writes, that didn't work out too well. Perhaps, I don't know. Maybe it's good. Who knows? But as far as the timing is concerned, I did something very important. As you know, at the end of January, I banned China because the people from China, because they were heavily infected. And I had a lot of people, including Dr. Fauci, and I don't say that with disrespect. It's really what he believed. But a lot of people believe that we shouldn't ban him. It was no reason to ban him. And Biden was going around for many, many weeks after that saying it's not even going to be a problem. You covered it incredibly. Actually, Karl Rove covered that incredibly tonight, and just incredibly, actually. And they were all going around, no problem, no problem. Everybody, practically everybody. Nobody had any idea it would be as violent as it turned out to be. And we studied it. We understand it. Now we're opening up. But we could have lost 2 million, 2.5 million, maybe even more than that if we did it a different way. And we've done a really good job. And if you look at our numbers, our fatality numbers compared to other countries, we're in really, I mean, it's amazing what we've done. We've been able to do something that a country, especially with the kind of size we're dealing with, we've done an incredible job.
I watched your press conference today, and the general tone of the questioning was that you misled the country because you told Bob Woodward on February 7th, this looks like it's going to be 5 times as bad as a normal flu virus. I think most Americans may not even know that there are years with the influenza virus that we lose tens of thousands of Americans. It's not uncommon. But your actions just 7 days earlier were you put a travel ban in effect, and a quarantine in effect, again, hasn't been done in 50 years. So actions mean something, and you taking it seriously was very clear then. And then when you said, well, I don't want people to panic, they say, well, you must have been downplaying it. Wouldn't your actions contradict that narrative?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at, we've had flu years where we lost 70, 80, and 90,000 people. People don't realize that. But if you look that and multiply that times 5, it's actually more than we lost. Now, we could have lost 2 million, 2.5 million, as Matt said, if we did it a different way. But what I want to show is I want to show a calmness. I'm the leader of the country. I can't be jumping up and down and scaring people. I don't want to scare people. I want people not to panic. And that's exactly what I did. And if you look at the representatives of Joe Biden, you see what they were saying. They said, no problem, this won't be a problem. He didn't think it was going to be a problem until months later. He was way late. Pelosi was way, way late. And I was at the end of January, far ahead of everybody, because I did something nobody wanted me to do. Nobody wanted me to do the ban on China. And then, as you know, shortly thereafter, I did a ban on Europe.
All right, so you get the idea. I'm running out of time here, but he's right. I mean, I know that from the revisionists among us, those who want us to view history through the lens of Trump was atrocious, they're gonna make sure that we forget this. But Trump was. I know that this is not. With as much hatred and as much that Trump has been blamed for things related to coronavirus, I know that people are not going to want to accept this. But the truth is that Trump was ahead of where people were saying, where the so-called experts were at the time. Back in January, back in February. Trump was ahead of what was being told. He was definitely ahead of Joe Biden as far as responding to COVID. He was definitely ahead of Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House. He was definitely ahead of Bill de Blasio, Mayor of New York City, where the coronavirus has hit remarkably hard. You could say the worst place that's, I don't know if that's true necessarily now, but it in one localized area, I think it's absolutely true. New York City was hit incredibly hard, and the mayor was down. That's what downplaying it. Downplaying it was what we saw happening with the way Pelosi talked about it, the way that de Blasio talked about it, the way that who am I forgetting here? Anyway, forgetting the other individual, Pelosi, Biden, and de Blasio. Did I say those 3? Anyway, I'm looking at the time here. It's time to take a break. Come back and wrap up for the day. You're listening here to the home of conservative, not bitter talk. I am your host, Todd Huff, back here in just a minute.
Is it possible to be a fan of the show if you don't have the gear to prove it? Why not be safe and remove all doubt? Shop for official merchandise at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freegee, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegieAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freegie, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegieAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freegee, owner and lead auctioneer at Freegee and Freegee Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Wallace Construction is a family-owned business with 45 years' experience in asphalt, concrete, and seal coating. At Wallace Construction, our wide variety of experience and top-notch customer service have helped us build a strong reputation in Central Indiana. But we don't rest on that reputation. We build it, one job at a time. If you have an upcoming project, call us at 317-422-5356. That's Wallace Construction, 317-422-5356, and ask for Richard or Roger.
Radon is an invisible, odorless gas that kills more people than drunk driving. In fact, radon is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. Is radon threatening the health of your family? Call Radon Environmental at 317-843-0804. Radon Environmental specializes in radon testing and mitigation. The process is quick, easy, and worth it. Radon Environmental wants to make sure your family's health is not at risk. Call 317-843-0804.
Business leaders, are your employees satisfied with their jobs? Do they enjoy coming to work and feel valued? Workforce Chaplains can help. Locally owned, we work with organizations to provide holistic care to their employees. I'm Marcus Schrader, president of Workforce Chaplains, and we offer your team a 24/7 support system that positively affects your company's culture and productivity. With our personalized pricing and diverse support system, we handle the issues that you wish you had time for. To learn more, visit us at workforcechaplains.com.
You rely on your vehicle every day. It's not a member of the family, but you spend as much time with it as most family members. You wouldn't take your family to just any doctor, so don't trust your vehicle to just any repair service. At Raymond's Auto and Truck Repair in Plainfield, we have well-trained, caring technicians that have the expertise to get you back on the road. For 25 years, we've been servicing personal, commercial, and fleet vehicles. Give us a call at 317-838-7112 for the car service you deserve.
Seems like just yesterday that you couldn't find a quiet place to think in your home. Now all the kids have flown the nest and you find yourself wondering what to do with all of that extra space. This is Bruce of Bruce Richardson Realty. My team and I understand that life changes, and so do your home needs. So whether you're downsizing or upsizing, give us a call at 317-507-3285. Let us help you find the best fit for your residential or your commercial property needs. 317-507-3285.
Welcome back. So, again, I listened as I was thinking during the break here. Trump saying that he didn't want people to panic. That's what a leader has to think about those things. A leader has to stay calm. A leader has to, deliver the truth, make people aware, which, again, the evidence is there that he did that. But you have to counterbalance that with, you just don't want to start panicking. Now, I guess as I was thinking about this, maybe the left does want that from a leader. Because I think that is kind of what they do. Everything is, I guess, the end of the world for them. We have 10 years to act before the planet's destroyed, right? I mean, back in the 80s, we were one breath away from nuclear holocaust because President Reagan was at the helm. I mean, take your pick. I mean, between climate change, between whatever issue it is of the day, this is the way that it's portrayed. Maybe they do want panic from their leaders. I know the leaders want panic amongst the people so that they can assume more power and control and authority. But anyway, that's not the way true leadership works. I've got to go, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. SDG. See you soon. Take care.